Welcome, everybody, to the Cast from the Coast. My name is Adam Miles, and I'm joined, as always, by Josh Lambert and Tim Johnson. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you like what you see tonight on this episode, please hit that subscribe button on the YouTube and subscribe to us on all the major podcasting platforms or anywhere where you listen to us. Tim, what are we talking about tonight?
Well, we are going to dive into a 1943 film that I have not seen since I was a little kid, sneaking up late night, watching it on cheesy horror movies in the middle of the night. We are going to talk about Son of Dracula.
Stay tuned. All right, give us a synopsis, bud.
When Catherine, a beautiful southern girl obsessed with the thoughts of eternal life, invites Count Alucard to come to her mansion in the U.S., she unleashes a Pandora's box of horror on unsuspecting relatives and neighbors.
Mwah.
Mwah. Son of Dracula, 1943. Mwah.
All right, so let's break this down just a little bit. So yes, we have a southern United States scenario now. So it's no longer in Europe. And we have the lovely lady who's betrothed to a southern gentleman who has been... She's been traversing the world, apparently, and she comes back and she has this weird soothsaying psychic woman that lives in the swamp with her now. And apparently a guest that she's invited to come stay with them is Mr. or Count Alucard. And some weird shit starts. It's weird shit starts.
Some weird shit starts.
What I found...
Synopsis? That's your synopsis?
So what I find...
I don't want to hear you ever give Tim shit again.
I know, like...
I don't give Tim shit!
I honestly feel like I'm going to start starting episodes like that, like, you know.
And then some weird shit happens.
When beautiful southern girl, obsessed with the thoughts of eternal life, invites Count Alucard to her house, some shit happens.
Some shit goes down.
Yeah, but that would be
it's
great.
Weird.
But that'd be great. This movie, the storyline for this movie, right off the bat, takes an interesting... I can't call it a twist. It takes it an interesting direction because I was literally sitting here watching this going, I can see where this is going. Please don't tell me that it's going to be so obviously going down that path. You know what I mean? Like, she's taking advantage of Alucard at this point, and she's kind of plotting against him. You know, it's... For all intents and purposes, you know, with, like, we'll say, like, Horrors of Dracula, they're plotting to kill Dracula. She's doing something similar with Alucard, but she's planning on taking advantage of the gift of eternal life as a vampire and then offing him, you know, and living as a...
What, like, all the little... What are they called? Like, the accolades or the fucking...
Gold diggers?
What do you call it? The what?
Gold diggers?
No, in vampire terminology. Like the little dude that follows around the vampire that wants to become a vampire.
Oh, the familiars.
Yeah. That's like the... She's just that.
She's just that, and she just wants to off him when he finally gives her the powers.
They're just always hunting for that vampiric kiss.
Yeah. All right, so the cast here, we'll keep it minuscule when we're talking about the cast. So we have the lovely lady herself. She's, man, I don't even know. These characters are just very blasé. I mean, am I wrong? There's nothing outstanding about these characters.
You're not wrong at all. But to be fair, it's from 1943.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, so
World War II is still going on, and they made a movie. The world is at war, and they made a fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like it gets a pass with that kind of stuff, and it's also like it's supposed to be drive-in fucking popcorn movie. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a fun little fucking, almost. I don't know. I don't know the word that I'm trying to fucking. I don't know.
It's supposed to be a monster movie. It's supposed to be a popcorn midnight monster movie. That's all it's supposed to be.
You go to the drive-in. That's all I kept thinking about was like these people back then watch this in a fucking drive-in,
or at a matinee on a Tuesday.
Yeah, but they were still terrified.
Yeah. All right. Son of Dracula. That's Tim's thumbs up on it. And they were still terrified. Son of
don't
Dracula.
you try to pass the buck with your more than lackluster synopsis coming after mine, which was actually thoughtfully spoken and said. Yeah.
And then shit happened.
And then shit happens.
Who's the son?
Alucard's supposed to be the son.
Is he the son of Dracula?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be.
Oh.
But like, this movie really did kind of leave a lot of questions. Like, is he supposed to be the son of Dracula? If so, how is he the son of Dracula? Pretty sure, there's nothing really pumping in the Count's veins. So, how?
What are you trying to say?
And like, is it a rebirth of Dracula and it's called the Son of Dracula? I don't fucking know. Because it isn't Lugosi in the role. It's Lon Chaney Jr. in the role. He's playing an entirely different vampire.
Yeah, but it's like clearly a continuation from Dracula, from Lugosi's Dracula.
Yes, it is. It is 100% clearly a continuation from Lugosi's Dracula. However, it's not clear as to how Alucard, Dracula, is associated to Dracula. Is he just another member in the actual family line that was at one point bitten and turned into a vampire? Like, or did Dracula bite somebody and now this person's taken on the moniker? There's questions. And none of it's... I love his little mustache.
His little Gomez mustache.
Well, actually, there was point. He kind of reminds me of Vincent Price a little bit.
Yeah,
like his little Vincent Price mustache.
He's definitely got the the look and the feel of somebody like Vincent Price, in this role specifically. So, but yeah, no, there's lots of questions as to what the fuck the Son of Dracula truly is. But yeah, there's some corniness to this fucking movie too. Like
the bats.
Well, this is also like, I'd have to guess that this is probably like the first time that we see like a transformation, because in Lugosi's we don't see anything like that. It's always just implied and discussed. But now it's like fucking transformation happening, and it's corny, but it's 1943. Hey, like Tim said, the world was at war. So, transforming into a bat, that was amazing.
How crazy is that? That they went around and took the little kids' like toy trucks to melt them down to bullets, but they had the materials needed to do this fucking movie. That's crazy.
True. Everything was held together with wood, no metal. There was no metal on set, except for the car that they drove. All right. What else you guys got to say about the storyline or the characters?
I didn't hate Dracula.
No.
And that's a good point, though, because one thing is that it was often said when I had kind of looked into this a little bit, because I got questioned, like, who the fuck is the Son of Dracula, even after watching this movie. A lot of people said that Lon Chaney Jr. was, like, miscast. I don't think that was
No.
accurate. I kind of fucking dug him in the role.
Yeah, he falls right in there for me with Lugosi, but under Lee.
Yeah.
Somewhere's in the middle there.
I didn't mind this movie. I didn't mind it. It's not my favorite one that we've watched, but I didn't by any means fucking hate it. I thought it was okay. I thought, considering what was the climate of the world at the time, they were at a world war. They made an all right little movie. Like, it was okay.
It was definitely not the worst I've seen from that era.
No,
100%.
Not at all. Not at all.
No, I think we know what the worst from that era probably is. But, yeah, no. The story itself was okay overall. I did kind of enjoy the Americanized atmosphere of this. You got to see like the kind of the Southern hospitality, the parties. There was some definite. Looking back on it, you're looking at it saying, yeah, that's a product of its time, some of the characters as they were in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm watching it going, yeah, you wouldn't be able to get away with that kind of a racist fucking shit nowadays. And that was kind of like very numb to, it was like blah, like whatever. There wasn't even good parts of the movie. Thankfully, it was minimal. There was not much there. But overall, like, the way that they did things back then was very, very prominent in this, especially when it came to, the legalities of the situation, how Dracula came to be, or Alucard. I'm just going to fucking call him Dracula from now on. How Dracula came to be in power, so to speak, over the situation, using the girl, and the girl's actually using him and everything else. I wish that we would have spent a little bit more time on, say, the woman in the swamp, and kind of had her as a little bit more involved in the story. That would have been pretty cool. Or I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of where his coffin was, and kind of use that as like a deeper, darker location and some shit, because I thought it was a pretty dope location for what it was, compared to where Lugosi's Dracula in the fucking Under, which was fucking amazing, like still one of my favorite set pieces, especially from that movie. It pales in comparison, but it was still pretty cool because it was like a swampy cavern mine. You know what I mean?
I really like the setting of this one too. Like, one of my favorite things about vampire movies is that they're timeless. So I like to see them get through different cultures. I like to see them in like fucking Civil War era America. I want to see them in France during all the beheadings. I want to see them in fucking Japan. Like, one of my favorite
Japanese
things about them is that
movies. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that they get to travel the world because they're ageless.
It's part of the reason why I did enjoy the Interview with the Vampire movies, because like it was the same thing. It showed them through different times throughout history. That's pretty cool. Okay,
It's like the Highlander series. That's like the best part. You get to see them all through the ages.
Except for part 2. Fuck part 2, but whatever.
The Renegade edit.
The Quickening. Okay. Josh.
Yes.
Please provide
Regale
us
with your notes.
Yes, regale us with your notes.
Very well.
Very well.
I like how he just turns it.
Yep.
My first complete viewing of Son of Dracula took place April 19th, 2021 at 6:38 p.m. My first note here is very clever vampire, spelling his name backwards as to not frighten the villagers.
But they almost caught on to it.
They did. Yeah, like the first guy that grabbed the suitcase is like reading the letters backwards. He's like, D-R-A, and someone's like, hey, Tony, grab that case. He's like, huh? And that's what he was doing.
Hey, Tony.
It's fucking dopey.
Yeah, I actually really like the name Alucard. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's actually
they've used that in other shit.
Have they?
Yeah, well, Alucard eventually became the actual name of the Son of Dracula in like later renditions, like the Castlevania gaming series. Alucard is his son. And actually, one of the best Castlevania game ever made was Symphony of the Night, and you play as Alucard.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my, what amazing bat effects!" It's like it was literally those like rubber bats you get at Halloween on a string, like a fishing line. It was just, like shaking it up and down. I wrote, "We get to see the Count in the flesh pretty early, which is good. I hate a Dracula movie where you don't get to see Dracula." My first quote here is, "I poo-pooed the idea. I wasn't asleep."
Yes. Poo-pooed the idea. I had that in my head too to talk about later, but okay.
At this point, I got my first. This movie is boring. They definitely had some timing issues with this film, but it's kind of to be expected with older movies. Sometimes they just can't keep your attention. They got secret married, okay. Bullets go through people too, you idiot. This guy's like just shooting up Dracula, and he's like, "Oh, there's a person behind him." So you realize even if he's not a vampire, the bullets are going to go through him and to the other person, kill him. That's kind of how bullets work. She's a creature of the night now. This guy's suit makes him look like crazy huge. Did you guys notice that? Like his suit, I don't know if it had like extra shoulder pads or if the guy was just like super buff, but he looked like a beast. The cloud of smoke gag was actually pretty good. I actually really liked that with the old poof, and then he's gone.
Yep.
It would take far too long to explain why vampires hate the cross. Quote. What do you mean it would take far too long? Didn't the first Dracula film like explain it in like 20 seconds?
Yep.
It's like the embodiment of Christ, all that is good. You know, vampire creature.
You're taking too long, Josh.
Holy Jesus, Murphy, wrap this up. I wrote, "Is this the sun? Question mark. Guess not." So at this point, again, I realize I'm going to be horribly disappointed. There's not going to be a little tiny Dracula running around like the monsters.
Did you honestly think that that's what it was going to be?
Well, if you look at the poster, the guy who's supposed to be Dracula, the green guy, the poster, it doesn't look anything like Lon Chaney Jr. It looks like a small rendition of a green Dracula. I'm not even fucking kidding. It's actually kind of funny.
They got me in Son of Frankenstein. I was hoping to see a little Frankenstein monster crawling around. And then they got me again in Son of Dracula. I was hoping to see a little toddler vampire. Frank runs like a doofus. You ever notice this? Rewatch it when you see him running. He's such a fucking goof.
Yep.
This Dracula just straight up isn't frightening. This is before the Christopher Lee era Dracula. These pre-Lee Draculas, I'm not scared of. They're not overpowered. They don't have barely any like ability. They don't seem to have like big canine fangs. They're just not scary.
They just have an imposing look to them. That's all. Like
yeah,
they're
I mean,
aristocratic and imposing.
Yeah, you still get that empowering. I'm big. I'm wealthy. I can. This is that era's Jeff Bezos. He can crush you with a snap of his fingers.
Okay.
That's what they should do. They should film a Dracula movie nowadays, but reveal that like Jeff Bezos is a vampire, and that's how he rose to power.
You should write to Jeff Bezos and tell him I want him in a movie. See if he'll do it for free, because it's not like he needs to fucking pay.
What else is he gonna do? Does burning the soil no longer make it his grave? I didn't really understand the logic with it. Are they like deconcentrating it or doing some sort of rite or ritual? I don't know.
What they were saying was if you set fire to the grave, so like his coffin basically, he can't get past the fire to get into his coffin. He can't rest in it, so you're preventing him from getting into it.
Why not?
It was basically, I don't know, fucking fire burns. Fire's bad. I don't know. Fire bad?
He's Dracula. Fire kill Dracula. Stake to the heart, bitch.
Stake to the heart would kill anybody.
The cool skeleton dissolve. I really like that. I thought the dissolve with the skeleton was really neat and pretty good effects for the time.
It's a lot better than Psychomania.
Yeah. This Dracula ends up being kind of a punk ass bitch in the fight. Like, he gets pretty wrecked. I have no problem just calling him out. He's a bitch.
I like when he's like half crying, yelling at the guy, "What have you done? You gotta stop this!" And I'm like, why the fuck is Dracula acting like a bitch?
Yeah, he really was. I don't really get it. Those are my notes. Needless to say, not the best of the old Dracula films, but it had some cool things. I like the a la carte. I think this is the first one that kind of did that into the Dracula lore.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's, okay, so based on your notes, let's talk just a little bit about the effects work here, just for 5 seconds to highlight that. So yeah, the dissolve at the end was pretty okay. I mean, it was, you know, he dissolves away into a skeleton, right? And he's kind of in the mud and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. You got to give it some props, because I'm pretty sure that this is one of the first times that we see, or at least the first time, because it's so close to Dracula itself, that we actually see the transformation into like bats and stuff. So yeah, it might have been a little bit of a squeaky on a fucking string, you know, with weirdness to it, but it gave us something. There was a visual to it now, you know what I mean? Could have been just as much that it went off camera and then he came in, you know what I mean? But it tried to do something at least.
Then they retconned it in the Horrors of Dracula, didn't they? Wasn't that the one where they said that that's all just legend, that they don't actually own control over the wolves or transform?
I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
There's not much else for effects, because even when the guy shoots, and I'm just gonna say that guy was a fucking dumb shooter, by the way. He's holding the gun down and he's like not even aiming it, and he's pow, 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 shooting from the fucking hip without aiming. Pow, pow. Oh man, it was fucking terrible. I'm looking at it going, no wonder you shot her. It didn't even go through him. It just, like the way that you're fucking holding it just shot her. like what the fuck, right? But there was no blood, no effects from any of the gunshots or anything. It was basically just blanks, and away you go. There was nothing else was really of interest. The old lady died very weirdly at the beginning. She kind of like asphyxiated and scared to died of fright with the bat.
Well, she was kind of like a psychic or whatever. Like, she was tapped in and knew
that that's Dracula, and it frightened her to death. Or it's Alucard, but, you know, whatever.
Vampire.
It was a vampire. Yeah, there was not much for special effects. The dopest special effects in this entire movie was Lon Chaney Jr.'s mustache.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Dope-ass fucking shit.
Hey guys, I'm Felissa Rose, Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to They Cast from the Coast. Yeah!
Dark Oats, he discovers Alucard, Dracula's coffin in the basement. The coffin are chicken feathers, and next to the coffin are chickens in cages. Just before filming began, the inside word that Lon Chaney Jr. was miscast in the title role. To this day, opinion is divided whether or not he was a good choice.
All the good actors were fighting in war. What can you do?
Exactly. Included as a special feature / bonus feature film in the DVD box set of Dracula, the Legacy collection, released in 2004. And finally, classic automobiles used in this film include 1936 Buick Special Sedan, 1937 Packard 120 convertible, and a 1939 Oldsmobile Series 60 coupe. And that has been trivia time with Tim.
All right, Josh, I'm giving you the floor first.
No, you take the floor, because I got him dead to rights. I know which one he's fucking baloneying me on.
Okay, I've got a question then, Tim. You said two things. You said two things near the beginning. I just need to know, are they two separate pieces of trivia? You said they filmed the movie twice, and then you went on to talk about the first time about fangs being shown. Is that two pieces of trivia you were talking about, or
No,
you read them as
one
one?
piece of trivia, but it's two pieces of trivia that are the same topic, because in that same paragraph they also say that this is the first time that Dracula has his strength.
Okay.
So it's one piece of trivia.
I don't believe that they filmed this twice. One version with him with the fangs. That does not sound like it was in the Universal Monster Haven at all. I think it was entirely
I can guarantee
having to do
you.
with...
And if it wasn't because of censors, because censorship in films did not start that early. There's no way that the censors said.
I've said it in a previous movie.
No, there's no way the censors looked at him and it's like, oh, you can't have the fangs. That's below.
Okay.
No, but I don't think it has anything to do with that. I just don't think at all that they had anything to do with fangs in this movie. It was probably not even a fucking thought. I don't believe that fangs had anything to do with this movie at all. Go ahead, Josh. What do you say?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the censors made them take the fangs out. I think that's baloney.
Okay, so you're agreeing with me then?
Yeah, that's the fact you're sticking with you.
All right, Tim.
Wow, you guys are so wrong. So wrong.
So what was it?
The one of the chickie and the thing was the one I made up.
Naked.
Yep.
So
what was the actual?
What? I made it up.
You made that up entirely. So there was nothing to do with any kind of pranks on set. Nobody naked in a coffin. Nothing.
That's too ludicrous. I wouldn't think he would make that up. So you're telling me that censors came in during World War II and said, nope, you can't have fangs.
It was a fucking time of fucking sensitive.
You're so full of baloney.
Baloney? No, I'm so full of trivia.
So full of trivia.
I'm legitimately confused right now. Is it you actually made up the one about her being naked in the coffin, and censors really came in and said you had to refilm this?
Yeah. Just take it. Take the loss. Take the L.
I'll take the L.
Take the L. No,
take it, I guess.
I'm kidding. You guys were right.
Oh! You dick! I got one!
Yeah.
Take the L.
The actual piece of trivia is, in the film, the vampires never display any fangs. Mexico's German Robles became the first actor to show his fangs as a vampire in El Vampiro, 1957, shortly before the Hammer film Dracula, 1958. So she legit was naked in the coffin.
Played a
that
trick.
Was too ludicrous. I didn't think you made that one up.
Gotcha. Yay, Josh! Score one for us.
I didn't have enough. I actually wrote it down. I'm trying to play head games of like purposely fucking up shit like that. So to throw, but you guys were good. You got me. Apparently I went too big, and I should have worded it different. I should have said all Count Dracula scenes were refilmed instead of saying the whole movie.
Yeah, there's no film was fucking expensive back then. You think they're refilming an entire movie?
Yeah.
If someone came in and said you can't have fangs, they'd be like, "Well, fuck. I guess we're not making this movie anymore."
Yeah,
do you like how I tried to fucking throw you off, making you think for a brief second you were wrong?
Yes.
I stuck to my convictions.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Good discussion so far. Tim will try again later, I guess. So
try again.
I was ready to take that L too. I'm offended that you let me go that far as to take that L.
I'm offended that you guys got it so quick. But I feel that I've gained some insight of how far I can take some of this trivia, and I got to pad it with crazy pieces of trivia to kind of hide them.
But you got to
be credible.
But you got to respect the fact that as well, me and Josh came to the same conclusion, but by two different paths. Josh was like, there's no way, it was too fucking expensive. They wouldn't have filmed it twice. And I'm like, you know what? That just wasn't in the house. Like, they weren't thinking about fangs at the time. That was not a universal Dracula thing, right? Like, they just wouldn't have thought of doing that.
Fucked up names. And stuttered a little bit. And was like, oh, where am I? Blah, blah, blah. I knew exactly.
That's hilarious.
You go back and watch the footage. That was fucking acting.
It's Tim acting.
I tried.
Acting!
Oh, my.
All right. Gentlemen, let's give our final thoughts on this movie. So I'm going to start tonight with Josh.
You're going first. You always fucking end it.
Fine.
You're going first. Go
but
first.
Okay, fine. But every time I go first, Tim's like, oh, here we go.
There we go, Adam.
Of course, Adam's going first,
Nope,
but I never
first.
go first. Okay, fine.
You're
I'm
going first.
All right, so after seeing the original Dracula, the original Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, you know, some of the best that Universal horror and monsters have to offer. Yes, this movie does seem as a pale comparison by every mean. However, in the other in the world of son of movies, this is the better of so far for fucking sure. I didn't have any hope, but it might be this. I never had any hope going into this fucking movie after watching Son of Frankenstein. I literally was sitting here going, I don't know what to fucking expect. It's just going to be hokey. It's not going to fall, you know, a certain path. Surprisingly, there was something endearing about this movie. The change of setting. So it did change it up just enough. The addition of Lon Chaney Jr. as Alucard, because I liked Lon Chaney Jr. Guy's fucking talented and dope. And they changed just enough to not make it a rehash of the original source material by any means. So it kind of felt fresh. Overall, not a bad movie, but definitely not something I'm going to tell you that I'm going to revisit anytime in the future. Like, that might have been a one and done for me. Like, I might not ever watch that again. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, I honestly got to say, pretty good. Overall, pretty good.
Is that your rating?
That's my rating, PG.
Put it up on the screen, PG.
It's up on the screen. It's right there. Beep, beep. Whoop, whoop. Okay. All right, now Josh.
Oh, now I get to go?
Yeah, it's your turn, Josh.
It's just the whole day people giving me things that I don't want. Like elves. Yeah, I found the pacing on this one less forgivable than the pacing issues with the other ones, because at least they had something kind of iconic that makes you want to watch them. The fact you get to see Bela Lugosi's first reveal of Dracula, even the first reveal of the monster in Frankenstein, and you see these characters. This one, you don't get that because you already have reached that journey's end, and now you're kind of in here for the sequel. And a sequel's job is to up the ante to make you watch, because you've already know the story. And at this point, we already know the story, and the ante doesn't get raised, in my opinion. The effects are subjectively worse for when you reverse look at the timing. The character development in general is subjectively worse. And the Dracula himself is less imposing. He's a bitch. He gets punked off way too easy. For me, this is a G. It's good. I'm not going to rate it a shit because I like Alucard. I like some of the things that they brought forward and drove into the series. And at the end of the day, when you look at a property like Dracula with it's got to be at least, 50 films, a series, whatever, that it just picks up little crumbs on the way. So it's going to take a little bit from here, a little bit from there. So the Draculas we see now are some sort of combination of all the ones that came before them.
G.
So G.
Okay, very well said. Tim?
Well, I think this was a good movie. I do feel that Lon Chaney was kind of miscast. Lon Chaney Jr. is like, he's played all the monsters. You know what I mean? He's done a lot of them, and I feel like if you go into this He's not Dracula. He's the son of Dracula. So if you are comparing him to Bela Lugosi's Dracula, like, it's not the same character, right? Even though it's the same placeholder in the film, he's completely different, which is okay. Louise Albritton, I thought I liked her. I liked the her little fucking scheme, and like, that was different. Special effects were kind of non-existent. I feel like even though they set it in the United States, it just, I don't know, it didn't have that same charm. I feel like it would have if it was still over in Europe, like a lot of the other movies are. But there's something to this movie's kind of comforting to me, because it's like one of those B movies that, like, I could just picture myself back in the fucking 40s going to see this in the fucking movie, like drive-in or movie theater. Like, it's very, very much a product of its time.
So you were a draft dodger, is what you're saying?
No.
I see how it is.
No.
You want to fight for your country, just going to go watch shitty B movies.
So he just would have been like 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if I was,
so you didn't lie
I
to get
would have.
your license? Jeez.
No, to be fair, if I was a young adult, and I would have already been in Europe, because that's, my grandfather was in Europe already. I wouldn't have drafted. I wouldn't have dodged any draft. So shut up, Josh. Just bitter that I gave you an unwarranted,
Undeserved L.
an undeserved. Hey, I took it back. Anyways, Son of Dracula. I'm happy I watched it. It's not my favorite out of all of them. I feel that the pacing issues kind of ruined this movie. I wish there was a couple more like action set pieces, and like, Lon Chaney had more to do in this, like, chew the scenery type of thing. It's a shame that they filmed this movie twice. Just kidding. It's okay. I'm gonna go with Adam. The same. It gets a PG. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was pretty good. Yeah, definitely a product of its time.
Yep. Sweet. 2 PGs and a G. Not a bad discussion. And once again, I mean, take this into account. This is what we said before. Part of the love and joy of what we do with this show is that we get to experience movies and recommend movies to people, or not recommend movies to people. But we get to experience things that, ultimately, Josh, would you have ever set out to watch this movie prior to us discussing this?
Unless for some reason I got a hankering to watch every Dracula film.
Which you probably have never, and probably will never. But you might now, because of this kind of an episode and this kind of a show. But, but that's the idea, right? Like, we've all seen bits and pieces. Now we go out, we make something of it. We go and we watch the movies, and we get the experience for it. And all in all, even if the movie is rated...
People.
Yeah.
Just better people.
Exactly. Even if you do rate the movie a G, don't you feel a little bit better having seen the movie and experienced it to know for sure?
Yes.
No? Yeah. Yes. There you go.
Yes.
Just fucking delight me here, Josh. Just fucking give in, okay? All right. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on this episode of They Cast from the Coast. Take the opportunity. Smash that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit that right there. Subscribe, like, and share. Misunderstood Our Company. Same thing with our audio versions on all the major podcasting platforms. Like, share, subscribe. Smash that, buddy. And we're also on Patreon. Open up your hearts and your wallets. Provide that little fix of caffeine for Tim. Keeps him running. And until next time, Josh.
I just have this picture in my head. So... The guy taking that suitcase off, where he reads the a la carte, you picture him, right? And then that meme where he's holding his girlfriend, he's looking over his shoulder, and you see the other woman. I just see him holding Dracula, and he looks over, and it says a la carte. That's all.
Ooh. And Tim.
Stay spooky, stay safe, and spooky.
And spooky and safe.
And safe.
Good night.
See you next time. Keep it creepy, everybody.
Good night.